Okay, we continue on with an overview of the book. The title of the book is The Pursuit of Human Well-Being, The Untold Global History. Uh, it is recently published by Springer, and I'm one of the editors of the book. My name is Joseph Sergi, and my co-editor is Richard Estes. And what we're going to be doing in this video is providing a sense and introduction um, of Chapter 8, which is titled The History of Well-Being in East Asia, from Global Conflict to Global Leadership. The chapter is authored by um, Professor Takashi Inaguchi, who's a professor emeritus at the University of Tokyo. He's also a former Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations and President of the University of Niigata Prefecture. Also, the co-author on the chapter is essentially the co-editor of the book, Professor Estes, Richard Estes. He's a professor of emeritus of social work and social policy in the School of Social Policy and Practice of the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, United States. Okay, on that note, let me kind of give you a sense of what that chapter is about. East Asia is among the largest, most culturally diverse, and economically robust regions of the world. The region comprises China, Hong Kong, Macau, Japan, North Korea, South Korea, Mongolia, and Taiwan. Together, these 8 societies and territories have a combined population of 1,600 million people, or about 22% of the world's total population in 2015. The region occupies approximately 28% of the Asian continent, the world's largest, and somewhat more than 8% of the world's total landmass. The East Asia region is 15% larger than Europe, but has a population density that ranges from a low of 2 people per square mile for Mongolia to a high of 6,390 people per square mile for Hong Kong, with a region-wide average of 340 people per square mile versus 188 and 59 persons per square mile for Europe and North America, respectively. The majority of the region's capital cities are among the world's leading metropolises: Beijing, Seoul, Taipei, and Tokyo, taken together, exert considerable influence on the world's economies, politics, and even broad-based social development outcomes. The region's 2 largest societies, China and Japan, but especially China, have historically wielded a major influence on all aspects of the region's social, cultural, and religious life, including through their ancient religions and philosophies, for example, Buddhism, Confucianism, and Neo-Confucianism, shamanism in Korea, Shintoism in Japan, Taoism, and in recent years, Christianity in South Korea. Well-being in East Asia is remarkably high when measured by a variety of objective and subjective indicators. Japan, for example, leads the world in years of average life expectancy. The average is 84.6, as does South Korea. The average is 81, and Taiwan, the average is 80.6 years, versus average years of life expectancy for the United States of just 79.8. Achievements in average years of life expectancy are remarkable and mirror the region's 20 year successes in reducing infant and child mortality rates and increasing levels of both per capita gross domestic product and per capita gross national income. The region's highly favorable position on these key components of the United Nations Human Development Index is especially impressive in that East Asia contains one of the world's two population supergiants, China, whose population makes up 92% of the region's total. Yeah, that's one. Since the introduction of the country's four modernization program by Deng Xiaoping in 1978, China has succeeded in uplifting literally hundreds of millions of its rural poor from absolute poverty to economically sustainable and even higher levels of living. The privatization of most smaller and communal farms, the increase in the levels of at least local political participation, and the aggressive adoption of an open market economic system, albeit one with Chinese characteristics, has accelerated China's remarkable rate of social and economic development and thereby has hastened the rate of improvements in well-being throughout the entire East Asian region. This chapter explores the changing nature, state, and achievements in advancing well-being among the nations of East Asia. More particularly, the chapter attempts to answer the following questions that will help the reader better understand the underlying well-being dynamics of the region. What is the current state of well-being in East Asia and within the region's member countries? To what extent does East Asia's current state of well-being differ from that of its past, particularly with levels of well-being that existed following the end of the Second World War, Japan, and particularly the wars of liberation fought in China and the Koreas, and the devastating wars that occurred in Southeast Asia, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, large elements of which spilled over into the East Asian region as well. What are the underlying sociocultural, religious factors that account for the differences in the attainment of well-being for the region's nations? What have been East Asia's most significant well-being accomplishments and challenges since at least 1990? To what extent do all areas of the region share the same or at least similar patterns of well-being gains and losses? What impact does the continuing negative social, political, and economic trends occurring in North Korea have on East Asia's well-being more generally? And in what ways and to what extent has well-being in East Asia been impacted by the region's dramatic political and military events, such as the creation of the Communist People's Republic of China in 1949, the Korean War, which ended with the country's division into a communist north and a democratic south in 1953, the granting of full autonomy and the international recognition to Mongolia in 1961, the return of Hong Kong from Great Britain in 1997 and Macau from Portugal in 1999 to the People's Republic of China. The continuing political, sometimes military tensions between the Republic of China, which is Taiwan, and the People Republic of China. So these are the questions that the chapter is designed to cover, and the chapter does a good job doing so. On that note, I will stop here.